White House. And can we believe the polls? Conversations we've had many times before. Let's jump back into it again. Our Monday morning quarterback segment. This morning, our panelists are Stephen Kent and CRISTINA Antelo. Good to see both of you this morning. Stephen, welcome back. CRISTINA, good to see you. So I want to start with the debate coming up this week on Thursday. We all know what happened last time around. So, Stephen, the first question goes to you. The president's advisors have said you got to be more likable this time around. Those are direct words to him. If you are perhaps coaching the president here, we know to his supporters he is likable. To those who are not, what do you tell the president to be more likable?
Sure. Well, I have yet to find anybody in my friend or family network who happens to support the president who was not frustrated by the president's performance in the last debate. I think most people find it to be a little bit embarrassing. They want their guy to go into the ring and take out the other person on matters of politics and really undermine their points. But we didn't get a debate, whatever that last encounter was between the president and Joe Biden. So I do expect him to listen more so that Joe Biden can sort of go on the tangents that he goes on, and then the president can end up looking like the guy who has it together. But then again, we're talking about President Trump. He doesn't always act in his best interests.
And CRISTINA, if you're coaching Joe Biden, what advice do you give him as far as what to expect? Do you go in more aggressive this time around? Do you keep the same game plan you had in the first debate?
No, I think you keep the same game plan. I think that all of his folks kind of even expected some part of what we saw in the last go-round, maybe not to that extreme, but they know that that's the playbook that he's got. That's the only one he can run, and he's played it over and over again. So I think they're probably expecting more of the same, maybe slightly nuanced, but they are ready. They just want to answer questions on a policy level. They know that they have to make the argument for not just like, don't vote for him, but vote for me, and here's why. And I think he's prepared to make that case.
CRISTINA, I want to stay with you for a second. We know the topics that are out now for the debate that we expect to be addressed, including obviously COVID-19 is going to be at the forefront here. American families, race in America, climate change, national security, leadership. What do you think will be the most divisive, or perhaps the things we'll be talking about the most the morning after?
I think that we'll still be talking about COVID. I think it's the number one issue, obviously. I think the race issue, I think, continues to be out there. We'll see if there's another stand by, stand back kind of moment, if they give him another opportunity to disavow white supremacy, and we'll see what his response is, quite honestly. And you know what? I'm also a little disappointed that we still haven't seen immigration really take a stage, even one question at any point in these debates. So would really love to see that if there's any way possible.
And, Stephen, I see you nodding your head. I mean, maybe it will come up. We know that, based on last time, we don't know what's going to happen once we start the debate. Of what we do know, Stephen, what do you think the president will key on? And if you're advising, is there anything you would, essentially say, pass, let's move on to the next one here?
Right. So I do think that the president likes to focus on issues of leadership and casting himself as the kind of leader that most Americans want, pointing to Joe Biden as somebody who is either weak, slow, or just doesn't really have a hard point of view and is going to be guided by the activist left and by Kamala Harris. I think that is where he likes to have the debate, but usually the debate ends up on policy, and he doesn't have much to say on those matters. I do think that it would be valuable for the debate to include the issue of school lockdowns and school closures. Parents are at home with their kids. They're tired. Their kids are not learning. The studies are coming out to show that it's not working well, and people are upset and concerned about it. And I would like to see this debate touch on that issue, which is, right at people's kitchen tables every night.
Certainly a big topic, hopefully part of the COVID conversation. All right, we call it Monday Morning Quarterback. Let's move on to the second half right now, the second topic, and we're really going to combine this with the first one. We're talking still politics, the election 2 weeks from tomorrow. CRISTINA, I think we learned 4 years ago when it comes to trusting polls, maybe we should put an asterisk beside it. If you look at the aggregate of polls, Joe Biden with a fairly comfortable lead right now. What do we do to trust them if we look at the polls this year, or should we just throw the polls out the window?
I don't think we need to throw them out the window. They're a good indicator, at least, of like places where you should definitely spend some more time and attention. But you've got a valid point. You're absolutely right. We should not rely on them to our detriment. We need, as Democrats, to kind of run through the tape. We need to keep going and make sure that we go all the way through Election Day, not get complacent, not get lazy, not assume that we've got anything taken in. What I do like, instead of the national poll, though, is to dig into the state-by-state polls and kind of looking at those blue wall states that we last go-round Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. 3 out of 4 of those right now are polling highly for Vice President Biden. So though, I would continue to look at those, look at Florida, look at Nevada, look at some other states that are still in play, and make sure that we continue to make the play there and bring the case to the people, to the voters.
And I think, Stephen, the question comes is believability. I think people they see the polls, you see it how you want to see it, and you're going to believe what you want to believe. So if the results of the election don't come out what the polls are, how do you convey that, I guess, as a sense of believability?
Right. I think people see polls and they're like, well, I didn't get a call. Nobody called to ask me. So how is this valid? Look, the only polls that you can really trust are called exit polls, and they start coming out on election night. But you can really learn a lot and manage your own expectations by following the ebb and flow of poll numbers. But the reason that much of this discussion centers around predictability is because we focus too much on national polling, and the way that we talk about it, I think, distorts some of those outcomes. Hillary Clinton was predicted to carry the vote by roughly 3%. And in the end, she did win the popular vote by 2%. But like my co-panelists mentioned, we need to be focused on state-by-state polling and races more than national trends.
All right, final question as we wrap things up, and I'll put it to both of you. Stephen, you can answer first. Christina, then jump in. Your best estimate as to when we might have a decisive answer to who will be the next president. Will it be election night? Will it be the day after? Will it be the week after? Stephen, what do you think?
I'm thinking the first week of December.
Okay. Christina, do you follow that?
I think we'll know some results either election night or the next morning, but I do think there will be some litigation that keeps going, and maybe we won't know the results of that until December.
All right. We'll see what happens. I appreciate both of you joining us. Thanks very much. We'll hopefully see both of you again soon.